So in this session, I'm going to create one more Django form. So how we can create a form? If you want to create any form, so we go to the forms, form.py file. So we have already created form.py file. In this form.py file, we can create one new form. So I want to create, suppose, one contact form. So how we can create contact? So we need to define one class with name like contact form, contact form. So this class is a form. So this class needs to inherit forms dot form class. Yes, no, which class needs to inherit? Form class. Now this form class contain what field? I required one name field. So you can say name equal to, I will create one field name. That field will contain which type value? Character type. So we can call one method char field. Using this method, we can create one character type field which allow character type value. And now once you create this field, and now if you want to specify how many maximum character allow for this field, you can specify here using the property of max length. You can specify max length value. It means here we have created one field with name which allow character value, and maximum length allow for this field is 30. Now, similar, if you want to create another field, so I require to create one email field. So if you want to create email field in which user allow to enter email value, so you can create email field by calling forms.email field method. We have one method, email field method. Email field method allowed to create email field. And now here we have max length. If you want to specify maximum length, you can specify maximum length for an email. Similar, I want to create one message field where user can enter some message information. So forms dot, we can call method char field, and in this we can specify maximum, how, what is the maximum character is allowed. Suppose we specify 2000. And now here we have one property widget. You can check here. You can specify your widget type also, just like suppose in a text field you have seen in the last time example, this is a text field. This text field is not allow longer text. Yes, no. So I want to create one text field which allow to longer value. So here you can specify your widget equal to, so widget equal to, let's I define widget. Let's we select that widget equal, which type widget we want to create? I want to create forms dot text area type widget. Which type? Text area. You can check here, have a method text area. And now if you want to give some help text, yes, no. So here you can use one property help text. In this here you can write your help text. So let's, I am writing help text, write here your message. Yes, no, write here your message. Now I want to create one more field, source field. So let's, I will create one source field, source equal to, so forms dot, this field also contain which type value? Character type. So you can call char field method. And if you want to specify max length, you can specify max length. Suppose we have specified maximum character is a 50. And now we want to tell from which page the user send the message. I want to make this field as a hidden field. Hidden field means the field which are not visible to the end user, but you can use for internal use. So if you want to make this widget as a hidden field, so you can write widget and forms dot which type hidden input. You can check it. Here we have method hidden input. So now here we have make this field as a hidden field. Okay, after defining this contact form, now my form is created. Now what we need to? We need to define view, and view needs to create this form and pass this form to the template for rendering it. So go to the view, and now here in the view views.py file. So we will move to the views.py file. So views.py file, in this views, I'm going to define our view. So let's here we define one view, contact, yes, no, contact. I define contact view. And this view will take as a parameter, as a request object, as a parameter. Let's now what's my requirement. Okay, before when client make a request to access this view, so we can check whether client make as a get request or post request. If how we can check using request object, request dot, here we have one property method. In this method you can check here request dot method request dot method equal if request method is post, if request method is a post, so you can check whether your request is a post request or get request. If request method is a post, then we want to create a forms dot which form, contact form. Contact form I want to create using that, passing that data, whatever data we have in post request. So request dot, here we can pass request dot post. Okay, one more thing, if request method is a post, if you want to check whether request, what is the request method, so here in your view, first line you can write, in first line you can write request dot method. So let's we print here request method equal plus or request dot method. You can access which property, method. Now it will populate your request method is which type. Okay, let's here we write down comma. And then again, if your request method is a whatever get a post, if request method is a post, then I want to display that post data. What is request dot post contain? I will show here. So request, and here we can write request dot post. Request dot post. So request dot post what contain. And then here we created one form object. You can check here. I have created one form, contact form object with by passing that request post data. Okay, if request is not, suppose post request. Okay, once you have created your form object, now you can check whether your form is valid or not. What means a valid form or invalid form? Let's check here. Suppose we have created this form. Suppose without entering a field, if user tried to submit this form, then we can consider this form is an invalid form. So we can check here if forms, we have form, you can check a form dot, we can call method is valid method, is underscore valid method, is underscore valid method. If form is valid, then whatever processing you want to perform, you can perform here, right? Oh, just we have pass as a pass keyword. If your request method is not a post, if request method is a get, then I want to create a one form equal to forms dot, you can check here, forms dot, which form I want to create, contact form. I want to create one empty contact form, not data. Okay, once form we have created, once form object we have created, now we need to pass this form to our template. So what we can do, we can pass our form to the template. We can return here render function. Render function will take as a parameter request object as a parameter first, and second parameter it will take as a template. Suppose my template name is also contact.html, and third parameter we can pass a dictionary. So you can pass in this way also dictionary. In this dictionary, what is the key? Key you can pass as like form, and what is the value? Whatever form objects you have created, that we have passed as a value. So now we have passed this data to our template. Now we're going to create our template. So just like we have created customer template, similar we need to create one more template. I will create one template with name. I give the name like contact.html. Okay, contact.html we have already, so we can give contact1.html. So contact.html we have already, so we can give contact1. So go to your views, and here we change the template name, which template we want to return, contact1. Let's save it, go to the contact1. Now here, now we have created form, yes, no, with request post method here. Now here we created button, but now that form we want to populate here. So here we are using double curly bracket template tag. Within a double curly bracket, we are binding that variable value. Which variable value? I have created a pass from view one key and value pair whose key name is a form. Okay, after that, now we need to go our URL pattern, and now go to the url.py. Let's define one more URL. So now we want to fetch which form? I want to fetch which form? Contact form. So contact/contact, and now this is the URL pattern for which views.contact. contact form. Let's save it. Now go to the browser once again, and if you refresh page, you can check here your URL pattern / contact. We type the URL pattern / contact. If you press enter, now you can check here. Now you can check here one form is created. This is a name field, email field, this is a message text area field, and this is you can check here submit button. Oh, you can check here once you make first time request, this is a get request because you are expecting from the server. So now once you make a request go to the which URL pattern / contact, you can check here. When you make a request go to the / contact. Now which view will invoke? This view. And now you can check here which your request method is a first time. What is the request method? You can check here. Your request method is a get. Your request method is a get. First time you make a request, your request method is a get. But once you enter some data here, suppose you enter some data, and now here you enter some data. After entering some data, and if you click on submit button, now you are submitting the form to the server. Now you can check here in your template also, you can check here contact one dot, your form method is a post. Once you click on submit button, now you can check here hidden field is also required field. So your form is not submitted, you can check here. Your form is not submitted, you can check here because hidden field is a required field. Hidden is also required field. So you can check here. Here you can check here, your request method become what? Post. Yes, no? Request, your form is submitted, your request method is a post. You can check here. What is the post request dot post contain? It contain all the data, whatever data information will send from the client to the server. So it contain one field. You can check here. One name, whose value is Tushar, email, message, source. You can check here. And it contain all the information. Now you can retrieve that information using post object. If you want to retrieve that information, you can retrieve using post object. So go to the forms.views.py. Okay, if form is valid, then I want to fetch, guys, which information? I want to fetch name information. How we can fetch? So using request dot, you can check here, request dot post. We have post, yes, no? Because whatever client send information, that information will pass to the server in post request. That information we can access using post object. You can check a post object contain all this information. So it contains just like a dictionary. So how you can access value from the dictionary? Just like square bracket. Within a square bracket, you can specify the key name. What is the key name? Suppose key name is a name. So now if you save it once again, now let's save it and now refresh. Now we can click on back button. And now once again we run this, send this request / contact. You can check if you enter some data, Tushar something, yes or no, enter something. If you click on submit button, now you can go to the console and you can check here. Okay, here you can check here. Request method is a post. Now whatever data we have fetch, you can check here what is data. Data is fetched or not fetched. Okay, what is the key name is a name. What is its value? Value is a Tushar. And now this is the email, yes or no? So let's check here. Request dot post. I'm printing, yes no? Request dot post. I'm writing name equal comma. And one more thing, go to our form. What is the form? Go to the form.py file. Here we have field, make as a which field, hidden field, source. We remove this source field right now. Just we will check these three fields, name, email, and message. And once you again save this form, click on save, go to the browser, refresh this URL, Now click on back button. Now refresh this page /contact. Contact. If you click enter, you can check. This is the first request, get request. You can check in your console also. This is your first request. Request method is a get. If you enter some data, yes or no, and if you click on submit button, you can check here. Now you can check here. Your request method is a post, and whatever information you have submitted, these are information. Request.post, you can check here. From the post, you can get which information name. So what is the name value? Name value is Tushar. You can check. You are able to fetch that name. And now you can check here. Once we have created a form, contact form, you can check here in your views, views.py. First, we are checking, yes, no. If request method is a post, then we will create form with required data. So all the data will be has checked into the form. And if form is valid, then we are trying to fetch the data. You can fetch the data. Suppose if you want to display that data, yes, no, just like here we display name, and we want to display other information like what name, email, and message, yes, no. So you can fetch. How you can fetch that information also, you can check here, comma, using request dot, we can call post, and now which key we want to fetch? I want to fetch email key. So what is the key name? Email. Now it will store the data in the form of post object in the form of dictionary, yes, you know. So now message, now you can fetch using request dot post. Now which key? What the key name? Key name is a message. Now whatever information you have submitted, now we are able to read all the information. Let's refresh once again. Go back and refresh the page. Make again request. First time you have make request, you can check here. You make a which request. You can check here. You have make get request. You can check in your console. Your request is a get. And once you enter some data, let's we enter some data. And now if you click on submit button, now you can check here. Your request method is a post. And now these are information you have submitted. You can check here whatever client enter information. Now we are able to read that information, name, email, message. So you can read this data and you can pass this data to the template for rendering it. If you want, you can pass the data to the template also. So let's here what I want to do here. Let's here we make some changes. First of all, we want to define one request handler method. That request handler method needs to render the form. And then when we click on submit button, then we want to process this form. So here, first time, go to your views, you can check here. Here, I have defined one view. First of all, you can check a def. You can check here, show form, show contact form. I define one view with name show contact form. I define one view. This view, what does actually, we will make some changes, check here. This view is responsible to render only form. So return, now we render. Which form needs to be rendered? We pass the request object, and the second parameter we need to pass the template name. What is the template name? contact1.html. So first time what you need to do, when client make a request, client needs to render that form only. Yes, no, this is a get request. So let's now go to the url.py file. In this url.py file, we define one URL like URL pattern. First we have defined show contact. So I give the name like show contact. Now you can copy this name, show contact. So this is the URL pattern for which view? Show.contact form. Show contact form. This is the URL pattern. Let's save it. Now you can check. Once you save it, refresh the page, you can check here. Here we have one URL pattern /contact. You can check here. What happened? You are making get request show contact. What happened? It will render the form. But you can check it will render what? Only submit button. Why? Because in this template, you can check here. In the contact1.html, actually you need to pass the form. Which form? Contact form that you have created in the Django. So go to your views once again. What we need to make a changes. Actually, first time when client make a request to access this form, so simply here we create one form. Yes, no, form equal to, here we have forms dot which form we have need to create contact form. Yes, no, contact form. We have created one empty form. One empty form is created. That empty form we need to pass to the template in the form of context object. So you can pass directly just like in the dictionary here. This is a context object, and now you can place key and value. Now we place key and value here. Now you can save it and now make request once again. If you make request once again, you can check a form is populated. Now this form contain name, email, and message. These are filled. But when we click on this button, you can check here. When we click on this button, go to the contact1.html. I want to perform action, but this form will be processed by which view will process this form. So in the form, we have one attribute, action attribute. In the action attribute, you can specify that view URL pattern, that view is responsible to process this form. So go to the views.py, just like we have defined one handler, one view, so contact form, similar we define one handler that is a process contact form. I give the name like process contact. So this handler needs to invoke when client submit the form. Once form is submitted, then this handler needs to be invoked. So once form is submitted, this view required to execute for post request. So once request is form is submitted, okay, that view required to execute. So here you can check here if request yes no request dot method yes no request dot method equal to post. If request method is a post, then only you need to create form object. So you can create form, this form contact form, but this form not required to create empty form. Whatever data you have received from the post object, yes no, from the client, so that data you can pass. So how you can pass? Using request dot post. Using request dot post. Now form is created. After created the form, now you can check here, you can verify whether form is valid or not. So form, on the form we can call one method is underscore valid. If form is valid, then what you want to do? You can check it. If form is valid, then you want to retrieve the form field value. We have three fields. You can check a name, email, and message. So let's here we declare one variable name. In this name variable, yes or no? Okay. Okay, let's, if you want to declare, okay, I will create one dictionary, yes or no? It initially, yes or no, which contain data dictionary. Let's we create empty dictionary. Now here what we are going to do, if form is valid, then we retrieve the name. Name equal to, how we can retrieve? Using request object request dot, and here we can use post, and which field value? I want to retrieve name field value, post, and now we pass the key. Then second field, which field value? Name, email. So I'm writing email equal to request dot, and here we need to write post, and now we need to pass key like email. And third field we have message. So message equal to request dot post, and now we need to pass like message key. I need to retrieve message key value. Once you have retrieved the form data, now we can put the data into dictionary, and that dictionary we can dump into the context object, and we can pass into the template, in which template we want to render this data. So let's here in the dictionary we are added, yes, no. So let's we modify this dictionary, yes, no. Data dictionary we will modify. So I will create one key like name, and we place that name, and now we can create one field email, and now we place this value email. Now we create one field message, and we place that message value. Now this dictionary we can pass to our context object. So here, third argument you can set context equal to data. Context equal to data. Now we have create one context detail.html page. In that detail.html page, we want to render that data. So let's we create one template with name context detail.html. So go to the template folder. I will create new template, new file. I give the template name like context detail.html. In this template, we want to render that data. So go to the context detail.html. Let's write the basic code. Let's remove this form. Let's here we write down one heading h1. Yes, no contact detail. Yes, no contact details. Let's one by one I will show. Let's save it. So what happened now? You can check the flow. We have one view show contact form. We have one view for process contact form. Now we bind the URL pattern for both view. Show contact and now process contact. So let's we define one more URL pattern. I give the URL pattern like process contact. Process contact. And now this path is for process contact form. Now go to your contact1.html. Once form is rendered, when we click on submit button, this form will be processed by which view? Okay, I'm passing that URL pattern for that view. So it means that form will be processed by this view. For this URL pattern, which view is bind, that view gets invoked. Okay, let's save it. Now go to the file, click on save all. Let's save once again. And now go to the browser. Let's refresh the page. Now you can check here. First time you want to make a get request. So I want to render only form. So call the show contact. You can check it will render the form. So now you can check here which request handler gets invoked. So contact form request handler gets invoked. Yes or no? Now once you enter the data, you can check here and you enter some data. If you click on submit button, okay. So go to the url.py. Let's check here. Process contact is fine. Once you again save, let's click on back. If you click submit button, okay, some URL pattern is wrong. Okay, go to the contact1.html process contact. Suppose I'm writing here one more slash. Let's save it once again. Save all the request. Let me check once again. It's working. Okay, let's save once again. Let's stop the server once again and rerun the server once again. Now server is started. Now server is started. Now copy this URL, go to the browser, type this URL. Now we need to, first of all, which form we need to show? Contact. So slash show contact. Now form is process. And now once you enter some data, if you click on submit button, now you can check here. Now you can check what the URL pattern becomes slash process contact. Now which form will render, which template will render? Now this view gets invoked, yes or no? And this view gets invoked and this view render which template? Contact detail data. Now in contact.detail HTML, yes, no, you can check it, you will get contact detail. If you want to render that data, so which data? Suppose I want to render name, yes, no. So you can use double curly braces, and within a double curly braces, you can bind that variable value that you have passed from view to template. So which variable value suppose we have render here? Name value. So you can check it. What is the name value? Tushar. Yes, you know. Let's now we bind other attributes also, other field also. Name, email, and message. Name, email, and message. Name, email, and now message. So whatever information we have passed, yes, no, from client, let's now we read that data and we populate that data. Let's refresh this page. Now suppose guys, client make a request to access contact form first of all. So show contact, I'm writing show contact. Now one form is populated. Once form is rendered, then client enter some data, and whatever a client enter data, let's now when we click on submit button, now form is submitted to the server, and once form is submitted to the server, we want to read the data, whatever information entered by the client, and we want to render in different template. So let's once you enter, now you can check here whatever user enter data, that contact detail we are able to fetch and we are able to populate. So in this way we can handle the form. I hope it's clear. Thank you.